The winter wind cut through the streets of Chicago like a blade. Snow clung to the sidewalks, turning the city gray and unforgiving. Inside a women's shelter on the south side, a thin girl sat quietly on a metal cot, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Her name was Lily Sterling. She was 16 years old, and she had no idea she was supposed to be a millionaire. Lily stared at the cracked wall across from her, listening to the sounds of coughing, murmured prayers, and crying children echoing through the room. She had learned not to cry anymore. Tears didn't change anything. Hunger didn't either. Her stepmother, Diane, had dropped her off 2 weeks earlier with a single suitcase and a cold sentence. "I can't take care of you anymore. Be grateful someone will." That was it. No goodbye, no explanation, and no mention of the $2 million that had been sent to protect Lily's future. 16 years earlier, Malcolm Sterling, billionaire real estate magnate and founder of Sterling Holdings, stood in a hospital hallway, holding a phone he didn't want to believe. His only son, Andrew Sterling, was dead. A car accident, rain, a drunk driver. Andrew's wife had died years earlier. All that remained was a 3-year-old girl with wide eyes and curly brown hair, Lily. Malcolm had never been a warm man, but that day something inside him broke. "I'll make sure she never struggles," he told his lawyer. Within weeks, Malcolm created a $2 million trust fund placed in a protected account under Lily's name. The money was to be used only for her education, health care, and living expenses. Andrew's second wife, Diane, was named Lily's legal guardian. Malcolm didn't trust Diane, but he trusted contracts, lawyers, and banks. Or so he thought. The lie that lasted years. For years, Malcolm received neat reports. Lily is doing well. School tuition paid. Stable home environment. Photos arrived occasionally. Lily smiling. Birthday cakes. New clothes. Malcolm sent additional funds over the years. Private school fees, extracurricular activities, medical coverage. In total, over $2.3 million passed through accounts controlled by Diane. Then, slowly, the photos stopped. Emails went unanswered. Calls were rushed. "She's a teenager now. You know how they are." Malcolm was busy, expanding internationally, closing billion-dollar deals. He believed the lie. Until one winter evening, everything collapsed. The shelter. Malcolm was attending a charity gala when a social worker approached him nervously. "Mr. Sterling, I'm sorry to bother you." "Yes," he said politely. "There's a girl at our shelter. She listed you as her grandfather." Malcolm frowned. "That's not possible." "She said her name is Lily Sterling." The room went silent. An hour later, Malcolm stood inside the shelter, his tailored coat out of place among cracked tiles and flickering lights. And there she was. Thinner than he remembered, older, but unmistakably his granddaughter. "Lily," his voice broke. She looked up slowly. "Sir?" "It's me, Grandpa Malcolm." Her eyes widened, but there was no joy, only confusion. "I thought you didn't want me," she whispered. His chest tightened. "What?" "You never came. Diane said you stopped caring." Malcolm knelt in front of her, his hands shaking. "Where have you been living?" he asked. She swallowed. "In the car for a while. Then here." The room spun. Malcolm stood abruptly, rage flooding his veins, and then he asked the question that would destroy everything. "Where is your $2 million trust fund?" Lily stared at him. "My what?" The confrontation. 2 hours later, Diane Sterling sat across from Malcolm in a private conference room, her face pale, hands trembling. "You said Lily was safe," Malcolm said coldly. "She ran away," Diane snapped. "She was ungrateful. Where is the money?" Silence. Malcolm slid a folder across the table. Bank statements, withdrawals, luxury purchases, beach house, designer jewelry, all funded by Lily's trust. "You stole from a child," Malcolm said quietly. "I raised her," Diane cried. "I deserved compensation. You abandoned her." Diane's lips trembled. "You spent her future." Security entered the room moments later. Diane was escorted out, straight into the hands of federal investigators. The fight for justice. The case exploded. News headlines blazed. Billionaire's granddaughter found homeless. Stepmother stole millions from child trust. Diane cried in court. The judge did not care. She was sentenced to 9 years in federal prison. Every remaining asset she owned was seized, but money could not return lost years. A new beginning. Malcolm moved Lily into his home, not a mansion wing, her own space, her own choices, therapy, education, healing. He listened when she spoke. He apologized when he failed. "I should have checked sooner," he told her. She nodded. "But you came." The trust fund was restored, double the original amount. Malcolm established a foundation in Lily's name to protect children from financial abuse. Years later, Lily stood on a graduation stage, confident and strong. Malcolm watched from the front row, tears in his eyes. Epilogue. Lily never forgot the shelter. She volunteered there every winter, and whenever someone asked who she was, she smiled and said, "I'm someone who was forgotten and then found." If this story moved you, like, share, and subscribe for more real stories of injustice, truth, and redemption.